Good morning, dear students. In today's video, we will discuss about another most important chapter, that is D and F block elements. So these D and F block elements are also the elements or blocks present in a periodic table. So first we will discuss about D block elements among these two. So these D block elements are also called as transition elements, because these elements are containing the properties, these D block elements are containing the properties which resembles between S block and P block elements, so that we can call D block elements are transition elements. Now we'll discuss about the general configuration of these D block elements. So if you observe general configuration, in D block elements, all coming electrons, last electrons enters into the D orbital. Okay, so then its outermost configuration becomes n minus 1 D 1 to 10 ns 1 to 2. So that will be the outermost configuration of these D block elements or transition elements. So totally 4 series are present in this D block elements. First one is 3D series, because D block element starts with the third energy level. So 3D series elements are considered as the first series elements. Okay, these 3D series are present at 4th period in the periodic table. 4th period in the periodic table. So this is the 3D series, and 4th period, which is first series of the periodic table or D block elements. It starts with scandium to zinc. Okay, scandium atomic number 21, zinc atomic number 30. 21 to 30 elements whatever present in the periodic table in the 3D series or 4th period, those belongs to first series. Now second one, 4D series elements. Those are also known as 5th period elements. Okay, second transition. This is first transition elements. Now second transition elements are starting with yttrium to cadmium. Yttrium atomic number 39 and cadmium atomic number 48. 39 to 48 atomic number containing elements belongs to this second transition element series or 4D series. Next, 5D series elements. So this is present at 6th period. Its atomic number or the elements are from lanthanum, hafnium to mercury. Okay, lanthanum, next hafnium to mercury. So lanthanum atomic number 51, hafnium atomic number 72, mercury atomic number of 78. Now these elements belongs to this 5D series, and it is known as third transition series. Next, 4th transition series present in 6D series, or it is also known as 7th period elements. The elements are actinium with atomic number 89, Rutherfordium atomic number is 104 to 112. Okay, these elements belongs to the 6D series, and it is known as 4th series elements or 4th transition series elements. So that means D block elements are containing totally 4 series: first, second, third and fourth. Now we want to discuss in depth about 3D series elements or first series elements, whereas last series elements are called incomplete series. Okay, these are called as incomplete series. Now we want to discuss about 3D series elements or first series elements. So first we will discuss about its outermost configuration and electronic configurations of 3D series elements. Now we'll see about the elements, symbol, atomic number and electronic configurations. The first element in the 3D series or first series is scandium, and its atomic number Sc. symbol SC, atomic number is 21, outermost configuration is 3d1 4s2. I am just writing outermost configurations. Next, second element is titanium, symbol Ti, its atomic number 22 and outermost configuration is 3d2 4s2. Next, vanadium, symbol V, atomic number 23, outermost configuration 3d3 4s2. Next one, chromium, symbol is Cr, atomic number 24 and outermost configuration 3d4 4s2, but it should not show such kind of configuration. Instead of that, it can show 3d5 4s1 to attain more stability. This is very important. Whenever the d orbital is half filled or completely filled, then such element is highly stable. So chromium do not show this configuration, it can show this kind of electronic configuration. Next, another element is manganese, symbol Mn, atomic number 25, outermost configuration 3d5 4s2. Next, iron, Fe, atomic number 26, configuration 3d6 4s2. Next, cobalt, atomic number symbol Co, atomic number 27, configuration 3d7 4s2. Next, nickel, atomic number symbol Ni, atomic number 28, configuration 3d8 4s2. Next, copper, Cu 29, 3d9 4s2, but it should not show such type of configuration. It can able to show 3d10 4s1. Again here it is the completely filled configuration. When an element is in completely configuration or completely filled configuration, that is highly stable. And the last element is zinc. Zinc symbol Zn and atomic number 30. Its configuration 3d10 4s2. Okay, so the exceptional configurations are for chromium and copper, because to attain more stability they tries to exist in half filled configuration or completely filled configuration. Okay, now we'll discuss about another properties. So now we'll discuss about the first general property of these group elements, that is atomic radii. So this atomic radii, there is no regular increase or decrease. So now we are studying period wise, that is from scandium to zinc, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. Okay, now we want to study from left to right. So left to right, number of electrons are increasing, but they are not entering into the new energy level. It is entering into the same penultimate shell. So there is no much increase or decrease in the atomic size. Okay, so with increase in atomic number from first elements scandium to some chromium, so it decreases. Okay, so from scandium to chromium, the atomic size or atomic radii decreases. Then from manganese to cobalt, it becomes constant. There is no increase or decrease in the atomic size. Whereas for the last element nickel, copper and zinc, so with increase in atomic number, there will be slight increase in the atomic radii. So this is due to shielding effect of the electrons present in the outermost shell. Okay, so for first 3 or 4 elements, atomic radii decreases with increase in the atomic number. For next 3 elements, it becomes constant, and for the last element, atomic radii increases with increase in the atomic number. That is about the atomic radii of 3D series element. So when you observe this atomic radii of first series and second series elements, or second series and third series elements, so atomic radii of second and third series elements are almost same. Okay, atomic radii of second and third series elements are almost same. So this is due to lanthanide contraction. This is due to lanthanide contraction. So because of this lanthanide contraction, so the second and third series elements of the D block elements containing almost same size. Okay, atomic radii of second and third series elements are almost same. That is due to lanthanide contraction. So now the next important property is ionization energies. So ionization energy is nothing but the amount of energy required to remove the last electron. That is called ionization energy. So now we will discuss about the first ionization enthalpy, IE1. So this is nothing but the amount of energy required to remove the last electron. So the first ionization enthalpy of D block elements. Okay, the first ionization enthalpy of D block elements are said to be higher than S block elements and lower than P block elements. Okay, the first ionization enthalpies of D block elements, when you compare with S and P, these are higher than the S block elements and lower than the P block elements. Okay, so whereas left to right in the periodic table, so these are increased ionization energies from left to right, ionization enthalpies left to right, it gets increases. Okay, this is due to the effective nuclear charge and Pauer shielding effect. So this is due to the effective nuclear charge and increases due to Pauer shielding effect of the d electrons by one more d electron. Okay, so if you observe the ionization enthalpies of 3D series in the following order: scandium is having less ionization enthalpy than vanadium, titanium, chromium, manganese less than, iron less than, cobalt less than, nickel less than, copper less than, zinc. Okay, this is the ionization enthalpy order of 3D series elements from left to right. Now we want to discuss about highest ionization enthalpies. Okay, so second highest values for the ionization enthalpies are for chromium and copper. Okay, these are the second ionization enthalpy of chromium and copper are said to be higher, IE2 value. Okay, because by removing one electron they will be in the stable half filled or completely filled configuration. Again from that stable configuration, if we want to remove one more electron, it requires more amount of energy. That's why IE2 value, second ionization enthalpy value, is very high for chromium and copper. So next one is metallic character property. So except mercury, so remaining all are said to be typical metallic in structure. Except mercury, remaining all are typical metals or metallic structures. So these are having they exhibit the characteristics of metals, such as they are ductile in nature, they have high melting and boiling points, they are ductile in nature, have high melting and boiling points, they can conduct thermal and electrical conductivity. Okay, and they are tensile in nature, they have high tensile strength, and they have high melting and boiling points also, and they can conduct electricity and heat. So that is about the metallic character of the 3D series elements. So this is due to containing unpaired electrons. Okay, the metallic property is due to the presence of unpaired electrons. Such unpaired electrons keeps on moving, so that they tries to conduct the electricity and heat. And next, another important property is melting and boiling points. Melting and boiling points of the 3D series elements. Transition elements are having high melting points, which is due to their strong metallic bond. Because of having strong metallic bond, they are having high melting points. So in each series, melting points of these elements rise to maximum value. So and then decreases with increase in the atomic number. So first the melting points rise to a higher value, again decreases slowly with increase in the atomic number. The melting points of most of the transition elements except zinc, cadmium and mercury. So except these, remaining all containing the highest melting point as 900 degrees Celsius. Okay, except these transition elements, remaining all are containing the highest melting point as 900 degrees Celsius. So that is about the melting and boiling points of the 3D series elements. Now we will see about oxidation states. So when we observe about the oxidation state, these 3D series elements or D block elements can show variable oxidation states. D series elements or D block elements can able to show variable oxidation states, except last elements like zinc, cadmium and mercury, except such type of last elements, remaining all are able to show variable oxidation state, that is maximum or different types of oxidation state, that is due to the less energy difference between Ns and N-1 d orbitals. So because of having less energy gap between these two energy levels, so the element tries to lose electron from both Ns orbital as well as N-1 d orbital, then can able to show variable oxidation states. So whereas mercury, so this mercury is having the lowest melting point. Okay, because it is in liquid state, so that it is containing the lowest melting points. Okay, so next we will discuss the common oxidation state of these D block elements. Common oxidation state is +2 oxidation state. So this is the common oxidation state for the 3D series elements or D block elements. Now we will see about variable oxidation states of 3D series elements. So 3D series in the sense the elements which are ranging between zinc and between scandium and zinc. So now we will see the variable oxidation states or different oxidation states shown by the 3D series elements. The first element in 3D series is scandium. Scandium can able to show +2 and +3 oxidation states. Titanium can show +2, +3 and +4 oxidation state. Vanadium can show +2, +3, +4 as well as +5 oxidation state. Whereas chromium starts with +1 oxidation state and it can able to show till +6. And manganese starts with +2 and it can show oxidation state till +7. +6 and here +7. Iron can show oxidation state from +2 to +6. Copper also shows oxidation state from +2 to +4. Sorry, cobalt. Nickel can show oxidation state from +2 to +4. Whereas copper can show only two oxidation states, that is +1 and +2. Zinc also shows only one oxidation state, that is +2. Remember, the last elements in the each series cannot show variable oxidation state. This tries to show only one oxidation state. Like that, zinc is the last element in this 3D series. It can show only one oxidation state. More than one oxidation state is not possible for the last elements present in the each series. Okay, so because of showing different types of oxidation states, we can say D block elements are having the property can exhibit variable oxidation states. Okay, among all these elements, the element in the 3D series which can show highest oxidation state is manganese. So that our highest oxidation state is plus 7, and it is the element which can show maximum number of oxidation state, that is ranging from plus 2 to plus 7. In 3D series, the element which can show maximum number of oxidation state is manganese, that is plus 2 to plus 7, and the maximum oxidation state shown by manganese is plus 7. Next, along with that, the elements can show plus 1 oxidation states are chromium and copper. Okay, so other elements, other series elements like ruthenium in second transition series, ruthenium can show plus 8 oxidation state, and osmium in third transition series also shows plus 8 oxidation state. That means highest oxidation state can be shown by the 3D series elements are ruthenium and osmium. So they belongs to D block but not to first series. They belongs to second series and third transition series. Next important property of 3D series elements is color property. So these 3D series elements or D block elements are color in nature, that is due to the presence of unpaired electrons. Okay, these unpaired electrons are not constant or quiet. They can participate in DD transitions. Because of participating in DD transition, that means excitation and de-excitation from low energy level to high energy level, they tries to absorb energy and reaches to the high energy level. At that high energy level or excitation energy, that is not stable. Again from the excited state it comes back to its ground state by releasing some amount of energy. So that released energy is responsible for the color property. Okay, so this is due to DD transition. So because of that DD transition, they release some amount of energy. That energy is responsible for showing different types of colors. Okay, whereas remember, whatever the element which is with D10 configuration, that is completely colorless. Example, Zn plus 2. So this is containing D10 configuration, as well as scandium plus 3. So in this case there is no electron in d orbital, so that it is completely colorless. As well as titanium plus 4. This titanium plus 4 is also do not contain any electron in its d orbital. Again it is said to be colorless. Okay, so when only due to the presence of unpaired electrons in the d orbital, they can show different types of colors. If there is no unpaired electron or all the electrons present in the d orbital are completely paired with each other, then that is said to be colorless in nature. Now we will discuss about magnetic property. So first we want to discuss about what are magnetic properties. Okay, there are three important types of magnetic substances. The substances which are weakly repelled by a magnetic field, those are said to be diamagnetic in nature. So the substances which are highly attracted by the magnetic field, then weakly attracted by the magnetic field, those are said to be paramagnetic. The substances which are said to be almost highly attracted by the magnetic field, that is called ferromagnetic. But in general we have to study only two types of magnetic substances, that is paramagnetic and diamagnetic. So based on the type of electrons we can say whether the substance is diamagnetic or paramagnetic. So if there is no unpaired electron in an element or a substance, then those are said to be diamagnetic. If there is an unpaired electron or single electron, then such type of substances are said to be paramagnetic in nature. Most of the elements in the D block or 3D series are said to be paramagnetic in nature. That paramagnetic property or magnetic character of a substance can be found out by using spin only formula. By using this spin only formula, we can find the magnetic property of an element present in the periodic table. So spin only formula is nothing but mu effective is equals to square root of n into n plus 2. So this is called this spin only formula. So based on the spin only formula, we can calculate about the magnetic property, and the units are said to be Bohr magnetons. Both are capital letters. Here n is nothing but number of unpaired electrons. Okay, number of unpaired electrons. So based on writing the number of unpaired electrons in this formula, we can calculate about mu value. So this mu value is used to find out about the magnetic property of a substance. So that formula is called spin only formula. Spin only formula is equals to square root of n into n plus 2, and the units are Bohr magnetons. Okay. For example, if you want to find out what is oxidation magnetic property of Mn plus 2. For that, first you want to find out about number of unpaired electrons. What is atomic number of manganese? That is 25. Its outermost configuration is 3d5 4s2. Now the same manganese is exist here in the form of Mn plus 2. So this Mn plus 2 means it should lose 2 electrons from the outermost orbital. That outermost orbital here is nothing but 4s. From 4s, if it loses 2 electrons, then its configuration becomes 3d5 4s0. Okay, then total number of unpaired electrons, you just write all the 5 electrons here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can observe all the 5 electrons are unpaired in state. So then the n value, here n value is equals to 5. You substitute this value here. Then mu equals to square root of, in place of n we have to write 5, because number of unpaired electrons obtained here are 5. 5 into 5 plus 2. Okay. So then you just calculate, you will get the mu value. Mu effective equals to Bohr magnetons. So that finally square root of 35. So that value can give about the mu value. Mu is nothing but magnetic momentum of a substance. Like that you try to calculate for Cr plus 2, Fe plus 3, Se plus 3, Zn plus 2, as well as Ti plus 4. For all these 5, you just try to find out the magnetic momentum, because it is the most important concept. So next, another important property of the 3D series elements or D block elements is catalytic property. So the catalytic properties of these 3D series elements are also due to containing unpaired electron in the d orbital, as well as having large surface area, and also having the property to form intermediates. Okay, because of having all the 3 reasons, they tries to show catalytic property also. We will see few examples, okay, of these 3D series elements which can act as the catalyst. Example we will take for catalyst, we will take vanadium pentoxide V2O5. When vanadium pentoxide is used in contact process. Okay, vanadium pentoxide is used in contact process. Next, iron, it is also one of the element belongs to 3D series. It is used in Haber's process. Haber's process is used to prepare or manufacture ammonia. Contact process is used to manufacture sulfuric acid. Next, titanium tetrachloride and AlC2H5 taken thrice is used as a Ziegler-Natta catalyst. In the polymerization of ethylene, we can use the Ziegler-Natta catalyst, which is also one of the element of 3D series. In the same manner, palladium dichloride is used in Backus process. So for the manufacture of acetaldehyde. Next, platinum or platinum oxide is used in Adams catalyst. It is used as Adams catalyst for selective reduction. And finally, copper. Copper is also one of the element belongs to 3D series. It is used as a catalyst for oxidation of alcohols. In oxidation of alcohols, we can use this copper as a catalyst. Next, and this is about the catalytic property of the 3D series elements or D block elements. Now, we'll see complex formation, interstitial compounds formation of interstitial compounds. So when these group elements exist along with the small elements such as carbon, hydrogen and boron, which occupied the empty spaces present in the lattices, then that is called interstitial compounds. Such interstitial compounds are also formed by these 3D series elements by the small places by using small elements like carbon, hydrogen and boron. So example, we will take interstitial compound of iron and carbon. Okay, that is quite hard than the general compound. Okay, general compound of iron is less hard, whereas iron which is mixed with the carbon is quite hard. Then this is called one of the interstitial compound. So interstitial compound is nothing but a combination of 3D series elements along with the small elements occupied at the empty spaces present in the lattices. Okay, now we'll discuss about alloy formation. So alloys are nothing but the homogeneous mixtures of solid solutions of two or more metals. Homogeneous mixtures of solid solutions of two or more metals obtained by melting the components and then cooling the melt is called alloy formation. So why we have to prepare these alloys means these are formed by the metals with the atomic radii which differs by more than 15%. So these are having the better properties than the normal metals. Okay, alloys are containing the better properties than the normal metals. So now we'll see few important different types of alloys. Examples for alloy. Okay, some important alloys are, first one is bronze. So this bronze is made up of copper and tin. So the combination of these two metals, now these two are the metals. Whenever these two metals are combined, so then it leads to give another important compound which is known as alloy. So bronze combined by copper and tin, whereas brass combined by or obtained by copper and zinc. Brass is obtained by mixing copper and zinc, whereas gunmetal. So this gunmetal is containing copper, zinc and tin. Okay, so it differs in the ratio or mixing of the elements. Gunmetal is containing copper, zinc and tin, whereas bell metal contains German silver. It is also an alloy which is made up of copper, zinc and nickel. So this combination is called German silver. Next, bell metal. So bell metal is containing copper and tin combination. Next, nichrome. So this nichrome is containing a combination of nickel, chromium and iron. Okay, so when you take all these different types of alloys, they are containing different types of metals. The homogeneous mixture of two or more metals is called alloy. So all these metallic alloys are containing better properties than the general metals. Okay, that is about the different types of properties shown by this 3D series elements. Along with that, you want to study about the compounds of the chromium and manganese. Okay, so KMnO4 and K2Cr2O7 present in this chapter. Okay, try to concentrate on these preparations and properties of this chromium and permanganate solutions. So next, along with that, you just try to concentrate on F block elements also. very rarely question will be asked from F block elements, but commonly they are asking a question from the general properties of D block elements. So try to concentrate on the general properties of D block elements. Okay, so the major questions will be asked from either color property or from the magnetic behavior of the substance. So magnetic behavior of the substance can be calculated by using mu, that is spin only formula. This mu equals to square root of n into n plus 2, and the units for this is Bohr magnetons. You just concentrate on the properties, along with that study about these two.